and gentlemen, in my own words, hottest show on the streets, TGIF edition of the show. Alabama's second scrimmage of spring ball tomorrow, but right now, we give you the action. All things Crimson Tide, in my own words, Touchdown Alabama magazine. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. As always, we bring you the show from the magic city of Birmingham. We stream this to you via YouTube, and speaking of the channel, you know what time it is. You tap subscribe right now. Getting the action right now. Jump in the pool, jump in the fire if you're bold enough. Right now, get every friend, family member, diehard Bama fan, casual Bama fan, consumer of Tide football to subscribe as well. Share the show around, because if you like the content, they will also. Don't forget to tap the like button too. Give us that thumbs up. Give us a like right there on the show. Raise those like levels up, trying to get this thing 50 likes out the gate to start the show. Daily Super Chat go $100 daily. Super Chat go $100 right there. We appreciate you, the fans. Also, turn on all notifications, that little notification bell, so that way you miss nothing when it comes down to your Bama football. But got quite a few things to discuss. We want to hear from you, the Bama Nation. You can do this by calling, number on screen there, 205-448-1358, number 2. Let your voice be made known, 205-448-1358. One more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you. But Eli, let's jump in here now. Tomorrow, second scrimmage of spring ball before the Crimson Tide take Bryant-Denny for the A-Day game on Saturday, April 22nd. That would be next week. But second scrimmage here, spring ball on Saturday. A lot of things Saban and this coaching staff are looking forward to seeing. A lot of things we as people that enjoy Alabama football are looking forward to seeing. And there's different things that we want to see take place, whether it's at quarterback, on the offensive line, at wide receiver, on the defense. Doesn't necessarily matter. There's just a lot of things that we as people want to see happen on the field. So as we get this thing popping, the first thing that we're looking forward to seeing is, can one of these two quarterbacks, does a quarterback separate himself this weekend? Does Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson separate himself this weekend in the second scrimmage? So far, quarterback battle has been neck and neck. Neither guy has given an inch. We see improvement from both guys. We see big plays from both guys. We see the maneuvering of an offense from both guys. But does one really truly separate himself as, this is my team, I'm that guy, I'm that dude, I'm taking over? We're going to get a chance to see this second scrimmage here on Saturday, because one thing we all know, after the first scrimmage, usually the side of the ball that struggles after the first scrimmage, it tends to play better the second scrimmage. So the first scrimmage, the offense really stepped up, did its thing. The defense, because it had some guys out, didn't perform as well. This time around, I'm looking for the defense to get some get back. So which one of these two quarterbacks can protect the football, keep the ball out of harm's way, still make explosive plays, but which one of these two can separate himself from the other? Does a quarterback separate this weekend? That's going to be something to look at there in the second scrimmage. The next thing we look at here, at the inside linebacker position, at that spot, kind of who could submit themselves as the Mike linebacker? Who could submit themselves as that position? You got Kendrick Blackshire, Tresman Marshall, transfer from Georgia. They're kind of neck and neck in this thing. Blackshire's had a great spring. Marshall's had a great spring. Saban's talked about Marshall, his maturity, his experience, what he brings to the table, that toughness from a middle linebacker perspective. Kendrick Blackshire, we all know he came in built like a transformer. So now it's between these two. But don't blink on Jihad Campbell. He's in here as well. Could he maybe slip in there and maybe submit himself as a Mike linebacker, as a young player? We'll see. But these three guys, which one of these three potentially could submit themselves Mike linebacker in this second scrimmage here in spring ball flying around the field? That's number two. Number three, in my opinion, on the defensive line, five-star freshman James Smith. Could he snatch a starting spot on this defensive line? He's got a legit chance in a sense of he can play both defensive tackle and defensive end. And with Justin Eboigbe, you're kind of slowly working him back, though he's been cleared by the medical staff. You kind of wonder, could James Smith take a starting defensive end position away from Justin Eboigbe or away from Tim Smith? It's very much so possible. Because I think, as it stands, he would be the co-starter at nose tackle with Jaheim Otis, or at the worst, he would just be number two behind Otis. He would still get reps. But now that I've gotten the understanding of he could play both tackle and end, James Smith could mess around and grab a starting spot after the second scrimmage. We're going to keep our eyes there on him. Number four, you look at this defensive secondary, in particular Earl Little II. Could the redshirt freshman from South Florida snatch the starting job at nickel, that star position? Going back to Wednesday, and the conversation I had with Justin Woodall, former Alabama safety, 2009 BCS national champion. If Earl Little takes the job at star, this puts Malachi Moore squarely at free safety. Your eyes there on Earl Little. He played star in the first scrimmage, did some good things. What will he do Saturday at that position? And so last but not least here, we look at the special teams in terms of the return game. Who emerges, punt returners, kickoff returners, that Nick Saban can trust? We know Kool-Aid McKinstry's back, so he would be your primary punt returner. But who would kind of step up behind him? And then guys that would step up at that kickoff return position. I mean, Isaiah Bond could do it. Kendrick Law could do it. Emmanuel Henderson could do it. You got some guys that can do it. But who emerges at those spots where Nick Saban goes, I can trust this guy, or group of guys, to catch the ball cleanly, field the ball cleanly, judge the bounce of the ball well, and have the vision and the wherewithal, set up blocks, take off, get up and down the field, make plays in that return game. Those would kind of be my five aspects here in the second scrimmage. Will a quarterback separate himself? That Mike linebacker position. James Smith as a five-star freshman on the D-line. Can he snatch a starting spot? Could Earl Little II snag the starting role at that star position in nickel? And then who behind Kool-Aid McKinstry can earn Coach Saban's trust in the return game on special teams? But we take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. We're just getting cranked up here. When we get back, we go to the phone lines to grab your calls, your thoughts, your conversations. It's a Friday. We want to hear from you after this.
Nine players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, people, we're back to the action, rocking and rolling right here from the break on a Friday. TGIF edition of the show, hottest show out here in these streets, talking your Alabama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. My man Eli Walker in the production studio. Continue tapping that like button, hitting that subscribe button, giving us that support right there. Daily Super Chat go $100 daily. Super Chat go $100. Eric Beasley knows what's up. Dropping in that $20 donation, showing love right there. Appreciate that coming from Eric Beasley. We go to the phone lines now to grab your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. The number to call in, 205-448-1358. That's the number right there. We grab this call. You're live on the show. What's happening, how we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, it's Juwan calling from Fayetteville, Arkansas. How you doing, Steven?
Doing great, Juwan, and yourself?
Doing well on this beautiful afternoon we're having.
I mean, it's a great Friday, man. You got the second scrimmage tomorrow. You got A-Day next week.
Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing all of it. I just want to weigh in on the quarterback situation a little bit.
Go ahead.
Now, either guy will be a good choice to go ahead and start a quarterback for us. But I was always under the assumption, just growing up watching football, that if it's a tie and no guy separates himself, that the tie always goes to the upperclassmen. Now, I think Alabama is very talented at quarterback. They don't need to go to the portal. I think that the Tide should roll with whatever guy they feel more confident in and just let them grow as the season keeps going. Because I'm just watching how the defense is developing and all the guys that they're finding, from the freshmen to the guys that have been on campus. I think the defense is going to be really, really good this season. And if that defense is really good and the running backs are running the ball with this new offense that Tommy Rees has going, we know Tommy Rees loves to run the football, the quarterback can gradually get better. And by about mid-season to whenever it's getting time to the end of the season, they should be very polished and very seasoned and good quarterbacks. But they got to allow guys a chance to grow. You can't just see a deficiency in the guy and be like, we're going to go to the portal or we're going to keep looking. Because you're going to take bumps on the head. Every quarterback does it every year. You got to give him that chance to grow. I think Jalen Milroe is going to be a very, very good quarterback for the Tide coming up this season.
Would you want
to do with it?
Would you want? I don't see Alabama pursuing the portal for a quarterback. I know that's been rumored out there. Hey, do you think Alabama will pursue the portal for a quarterback? I don't see it. I look at Saban, looks at Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson, and he's thinking, okay, we've recruited you two. We've recruited two freshmen behind you guys. We like the development that we got here at this quarterback position, and between Jalen and Ty, one of these two being the quarterback, that's who Saban and Tommy Rees is going to roll with. I just do not see Saban pursuing the portal at that position.
And I don't think that they should. Eli Holstein's 6'4", 225 pounds. I think that guy can handle himself in the SEC. But thanks for the call, Steven. I appreciate it. I love the show, man.
Appreciate you, Juwan, calling there out of Arkansas. I just don't see Alabama pursuing a quarterback in the portal. Now, could there be other positions? Maybe, but then again, you can't really make that move, Eli, until after the spring game. I think after you play the spring game, and a lot of these players see, okay, I thought I was going to get playing time. I thought I was higher on the depth chart. I'm not. So let me go elsewhere and get playing time. Then you can possibly dip into the portal. But, I mean, let's just say all the guys that see that they're right where they need to be on the depth chart, do you think they hit the portal? No, because they're right where they need to be at. But at the same time, we will see how that all sort of transpires. We'll grab this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steven, this is Mike from Kentucky. How you doing, brother?
Doing great, Mike. How you feeling?
Oh, man, I'm good. I'm always good. You know that. Hey, man, let me ask you a question. Are you going to watch the scrimmage live? You probably will, I assume.
No, they're not getting the media into the scrimmage, but I got people I know that will be there and that will be feeding me information back and forth.
All right, you got plugs. That's cool. You know, they say this quarterback battle's really tight. I just wonder how many reps Simpson gets with the first-team defense. You know, Nick Saban says there ain't no depth chart right now, but, you know, we know that ain't true. You know, if he's going up against the twos and Milrose's going up against the ones and they're doing equally as, you know, the same, performing the same, you got to give Milrose the nod. I mean, you know where I stand on him anyway. I opened my big mouth already, and I still stand by it, bro. One thing that concerns me is just the way they practice now. They did away with board drill a couple of years ago. I mean, how you going to find out, you know, excuse my language, who's got some shit in their britches without board drill? You know, you can work on footwork, hand techniques, and all that, and, you know, hit all the sleds you want to hit. But unless you're mano-mano with a football player in front of you that's trying to maul you, to me, that makes it hard to really determine who's the top cats out there. What do you think, Steven?
I mean, Mike, that's a good point. If you're not going head up on head up, it does make it difficult because you really want to see who's the real cream. They say the cream rises to the top. Well, the only way you know if you're the cream or not, you go against somebody else that think they're the cream and you maul them. And that shows that, hey, you're the real cream. So it's kind of hard to see that when it's not being demonstrated enough in these practices, and that's frustrating to me being a part of the media because it's going on 3 years where we haven't been to a practice. And, I mean, the university's just giving us film and giving us what they want to give us, but it's kind of hard, you know, me being in the reporting night, and I can't be at these practices myself to see, okay, this guy's good, that guy's good, that guy's developing. I don't know what that guy's doing here. It's kind of hard to tell when I'm not there seeing it at the practice.
I mean, to me, it's hard for the coaches to tell unless you line them up.
Right.
You know, and let them butt heads and see what's what. I mean, how can you really, you know, it just seems like the opportunities to be physical and aggressive and violent, you know, like a good football player should be, right?
I mean, that's why you
play.
Like
they're not.
I mean, that's why you play the game. That's why you play the sport.
Yeah, I mean, the way they dial back practice, worrying about people getting hurt, and the day of the porthole when you can plug and play a player, you know, if you need one, let them rock, man. Roll Tide. I'm gonna let somebody else talk.
Appreciate Mike calling in there from Kentucky, giving his thoughts here on the show. 205-448-1358, the number right there. We're going to grab this one. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's up, Steven? Sorry to call in a little late to the show, but it's Ballard Sports Media. How you doing?
Doing great, Chris. I cannot complain. Here, my man, you got the scrimmage. You got the second scrimmage on tomorrow. You got A-Day next week. It's rolling by quickly. Just so many things that the Bama Nation, the fans want to look at. I know the quarterback conversation is the big thing, but there's going to be so many things that come A-Day, people will have their eyes on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to talk about something outside of the quarterback competition, because I think that's the main thing everyone wants to watch. But when you look at, you go back to January and then you go back to, I think in December, we brought in 2 transfers. We brought in Tresman Marshall, a linebacker from Georgia, and then C.J. Dupree from Maryland, who's a tight end. Of those 2 transfers, who do you expect to make a significant impact right away?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I would say Tresman Marshall, just due to him coming over from Georgia, him coming over off that Georgia defense with Kirby Smart, that toughness, that physicality, that meanness, that dogness is already in Tresman, and it's already being seen on the practice field. Coach Saban has talked about that quite a bit. I mean, I've been told when Tresman hits you, you finna get your butt lit up. So I would say Tresman Marshall. Not taking nothing away from CJ Dupree, because he can still have a really good year at tight end. I'm just saying defensively, because the last couple of years, the Alabama Nation has said, where's the defense? Where are those soul-crushing linebackers at? I think Tresman Marshall fits that bill as a soul-crushing linebacker.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he could I don't want to say easily, but if he works hard enough, he could be a starting linebacker alongside, I guess it would be Dallas Turner. Someone's got to step up to take Will's position. I think it's Dallas Turner, but as you move guys up the depth chart to fill in holes, it's always next man up, and we're going to see some young guys out there. I would agree with you on Tresman Marshall. But I'll also say with A-Day coming up, I know it's not tomorrow, but it's next week, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about it. But what are you hearing as far as the offensive line? Are we confident in it this year? Are we feeling good?
I'm feeling very good about the offensive line this year, especially the right side of the offensive line. I know normally people say left side, strong side, and the left side of Alabama's offensive line is still going to be good. But that right side could be really special when you talk about having J.C. Latham at right tackle and Tyler Booker at right guard. People forget Booker and Latham, they play together at IMG Academy. So the chemistry between these two is very real. Both of these two are mean. Both of these two are nasty. Both of these two are physical junkyard dogs. J.C. Latham talked about it. I want this line to be absolutely ruthless. And you got Booker and Latham on that right side. That left side, it's looking like Darian Dalcourt at left guard, Elijah Pritchett at left tackle. Pritchett has made a lot of growth, a lot of improvement. He continues to trend forward. Seth Mclaughlin there in the middle at center. I like this offensive line. This group has now, in year 2, starting to take on that toughness, that grittiness of Eric Wolford.
Absolutely. Well, Steven, y'all keep up the great work, giving us the great content we deserve as Alabama fans. And I love all you guys. Y'all take care. A big Roll Tide from Coleman.
Appreciate my man Chris Ballard, Sports Media, calling in right there on the show. I mean, Eli, I like this offense. I do. I think if Elijah Pritchett continues to grow their left tackle, I think he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. Darian Dalcourt at left guard for right now, but keep your eyes on Caden Proctor, the freshman, right there on his heel. Right there. You got Seth Mclaughlin at center, and then your right side with Booker and Latham. Those two guys are just dudes, Booker and J.C. Latham. But we take this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from. You're live on the show, caller. And unfortunately, we lost that call right there. But to 205-448-1358. And I'm going to call in 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you as you guys are getting your thoughts together here. The call topic, Elon. How about Bryce Young? And from a pre-draft testing standpoint, when Mel Kiper Jr., NFL draft expert, said that Bryce Young is the best processor of information he's ever studied in the draft. For the first time, Mel Kiper was right about something, because Bryce Young took the S2 cognitive test. The S2 cognitive test, it's a pre-draft test that evaluates processing, mental capacity processing. How well, how quickly can you see the information, process what's happening, execute it, evaluate it, perform on the field. Like, how quickly can you see it, read it, react to it, put it out there. That's the S2 cognitive test. And this test, in terms of quarterbacks, it evaluates you in 4 different areas. You can look at visual learning, impulsive learning, improvisation. It's like 4 different categories they test you in, and they compile it into one composite score. And for Bryce, in this cognitive test, he scored a 98. That's higher than what Joe Burrow had in the 2020 process. That's higher than Justin Fields, and that's higher than it was higher than Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, and Josh Allen. Those 3, and we all know all those 3 got taken in the top 15 of the NFL draft. Joe Burrow was the number 1 overall pick in the 2020 draft. So Bryce, high football intelligence, process that information. Now, how does this differ from the Wonderlic test? The Wonderlic test is a sample IQ test. It's 50 questions, multiple choice. You have to take it in 12 minutes. The Wonderlic test is a lot of different subjects. You have reading in there, math in there, language arts in there. So it's an IQ test. The cognitive test, I don't think it's timed, the S2 test, but it's based on primarily processing. And the fact that Bryce Young scored a 98 on this, it just shows you how he can mentally eat through stuff like breakfast cereal. Pretty cool to see that. But we're going to take our next break here on the show. On Touch That Down, when we get back, we get into Alabama's offensive line, primarily Seth Mclaughlin. Why is he the most significant player up front if Bama's trying to win a national championship? We'll talk about it after this.
Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
This is Matt Caddell, former Alabama wide receiver, and you're listening to In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith with Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And I got 2 words to say, baby. Roll Tide.
All right, folks, we're back in here with you to the action from the break on the hottest show on the streets. We're talking your Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA on a Friday. You know what to do. You hit that subscribe button. You hit that like button. You get that thumbs up right there. Tap the like button. Show us that support here on the show. Daily Super Chat go $100 daily. Super Chat go $100 right there. We appreciate you guys for what you do. We look at here, Eli, the offensive line for Alabama, primarily Seth Mclaughlin, and why he is the most important, the most significant lineman up front in trying to help Alabama win a national championship. Bama's O-line, you know, it's going to be a big deal. It's going to have to be the reason behind the Tide getting a national championship. And you could say several different positions have played a direct correlation to Nick Saban's 6 national titles in Tuscaloosa. You could say having great linebacker play has played a role in that. It has. You can say having great secondary play has played a role in the 6 national championships, you would be correct there. You could say having elite wide receivers has played a role. You would be correct there. You could say having great running backs has played a role. You'd be correct there. But I think where it all boils down to, the offensive line in these 6 national championships have played a massive major role. Because the offensive line, it sets the tone in terms of that toughness, gritty, physicality, up in your face, knocking you on the ground, moving you off the ball, having that personality of we here all day and there's nothing you can do about it. Bringing that lunch pail every single time. The O-line plays a big part of that, and primarily the center position. Seth Mclaughlin back for his senior season at 6'4", over the 300-pound threshold at 301 at a Buford High School in Georgia. And for McLaughlin, he's always been a scrapper of a lineman, always been a tough guy, big-time leadership guy, huge in discipline. And we saw in 2021 where Alabama was struggling at center. They tried playing everybody but the little engine that could at that position and struggling. I know you laugh at it out, but struggling. And it gets to the second half of the Iron Bowl where Saban just throws everything up against the fan and says, McLaughlin, get in there. And lo and behold, we as watchers are going, where has McLaughlin been the whole season? I mean, Seth goes out there, second half of the Iron Bowl, stabilizes the front, protects Bryce Young, allows him to have that 12-play, 97-yard drive, 28-yard touchdown pass to Ja'Cory Brooks. You tie the Iron Bowl at 10. You end up winning 24-22 at Jordan-Hare. Even the very next week, McLaughlin starts against Georgia SEC Championship. People thinking ain't no way that Seth McLaughlin's going to shut down big Jordan Davis. No way. McLaughlin handled that dude. He couldn't even sniff Bryce Young's jersey. McLaughlin protecting Bryce to throw for 421 yards, 3 touchdowns. You beat Georgia in the SEC title game. McLaughlin moved on to Cincinnati in the college football playoff, Cotton Bowl, played well there. And then, last year, it was the flip-flop again where we're going to go with Darian Dalcourt first, and Seth doesn't get the start until the Arkansas game, and then people are like, can we just center on Seth McLaughlin? He's the guy. Can Bama just stop flip-flopping the center? Seth McLaughlin's the guy. Trust this one. Because when 56 is on the field, snapping the football, positive stuff happens. He may not be the biggest guy in the world, but man, is he physical, and man, does he get after it. And man, has he earned the respect of everybody, which he has. So, when you look at the center position that have won championships for Alabama, a lot of these guys on screen were not heavily recruited. A lot of these guys on screen weren't 4 and 5 stars. They were tough, they were physical, they were gritty, they brought the team together, they were scrappy, and they were just really smart at what they did. And they got it done. Communication on down. William Vlahos, 2009, 2011, starting center, 2-time national champion. You look at Barrett Jones, 2012, started as a center, got Alabama national championship. You look at Ryan Kelly, smart as a whip, 2015. Not only did he block for the Heisman Trophy winner in Derrick Henry, but helped Alabama national championship. 2017, how about Bradley Bozeman? Helped Alabama national championship as a center. I mean, how about the boy LD, Landon Overalls Dickerson? 2020, COVID year, got Alabama national championship. So these are all centers, aggressive, mean, physical, smart, gritty, tough, brought everybody together. And these guys were not all 5 stars. They were not. but they got it done at the center position. Here we go here with Seth Mclaughlin. He came in, 2020 class, 3-star. Tough, physical, gritty. When he's out there, when he's on the field, he's gotten it done. Coach Saban, Eric Wolford, no need to be flip-flopping the centers. This is the guy. This is the guy. Have him out there at the point of attack. And this is the guy that's going to have his offensive line back, college football playoff, winning a national championship. Really like what Seth Mclaughlin brings to the table. If you're looking for statistical data, I got some for you right here. He only surrendered 1 sack last year. 1. Seth Mclaughlin only gave up 1 sack a season ago. You can flat play. So that's the guy that needs to be the center. We're going to take another break here, folks. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, we return to the phone lines. We grab your calls, your thoughts, your conversations. We rock and roll with you right after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Will Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwillsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We're back in here, folks, with the action from the break. Hottest show in the streets right here on a Friday. TGIF edition of the show. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. Guys, shout out Rush. P-A-B-S-T. Rush Pabst with that $4.99 in the Super Chats. Appreciate Rush helping us out. And the guy, J.D. Long, is in here with that $19.99. Dropping the love in the bucket there. A daily Super Chat go, $100. Daily Super Chat go, $100 right there. We go to the phone lines to grab your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. The number to call in, 205-448-1358. We take this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hi, Bill from Springville. How are you?
Doing great, Bill, and yourself?
I'm doing great. Getting ready for the weekend. We spoke about a month ago a little bit about Benson. It seems like everybody else has kind of caught on to what a good player he could be for us this year. It seems like he's having a great camp.
He really is. I mean, Benson catching everything, routes looking good. He's got really good speed on him. I'm excited just to watch him within this offense. Build the chemistry with the quarterbacks. I'm excited for Benson.
Yeah, so am I. And I know your show's been primarily focusing on the offensive line. I do think, obviously, when you have Bryce Young, you're not going to be a ground and pound team. But I think if you look last year when Milroe was playing, although he turned the ball over a bunch of times, and they ran the ball really well when he was the quarterback. And I think that's they'll get away a little bit from that. Just it's a different type of blocking to just be pass blocking and run blocking. And I think that's the fact that in some ways Young's not there is going to help them become a little more focused on run blocking and starting to pound some people a little bit. They're a little deep at the running back position, so they can really rotate backs. They have the freshman that they think is going to play a little bit this year as well. So I think their whole mindset's going to change, and I think offensively up front they'll be more physical. and I think they'll be a little bit more committed to running the ball. And I think you're going to see them be more physical, be able to control the line of scrimmage, be in more control of the game. What do you think?
I see the same thing there, Bill, and that's what Coach Saban's been mentioning of his whole offseason is getting back to controlling football games, getting back to establishing the line of scrimmage, having that balance, having that physicality. You still want to have a chance to create those explosive plays in the passing game, and Coach Saban and Tommy Rees will do that, but I think that the goal is getting back, punching opposition in the mouth, having that physical punch right there. And I believe that with this offensive line under Eric Wolford and Tommy Rees's play calling style, that's what Alabama's going to want to get back to. And I think Saban has done this with the moves he's made on the coaching staff, but not just that, with the young men that he has recruited in this 2023 class and with the offensive line that he's got.
Agreed. So I think, a little bit return to how things used to be a little bit. Control some football games on both sides of the line. Defensive line looks like they're deep. They'll be able to rotate people. Offensive line, change of mindset. Looking forward to the season and being more physical.
Absolutely. That's it right there.
All right. Have a great weekend, Stephen. Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate Bill calling in right there to the show. 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. We'll take this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Stephen. This is Jay up near St. Louis.
Jay, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. I was just listening here to what Bill was saying, and I have to echo that I agree with him exactly what you were saying previously about the offensive line, because as we know, they have to give that line the attention, to give the time to the skill players to flash what they can do. And it reminded me of what Bear Bryant said many years ago when I started watching Bama football in the 60s and 70s, where he said he was looking for people that were good but did not know they were good, because then they were coachable. They always felt they could improve. And I see that in some of those linemen that we have. What do you think?
I see it in a lot of the linemen that we have this upcoming season for Alabama. I see it in J.C. Latham. He always talks about things that he can get better in. I see that with Seth McLaughlin. I see that with Darian Dalcourt. I see that with all of these guys. And all of these linemen have sort of a chip on their shoulder because they want to prove that they can be that physical puncher, that physical aggressor against these opposing defensive fronts. That they believe they can do that. They believe they can get that done and not be pushed around, but push around the opposition. And once again, this is Eric Wolford's second year. So now he's more comfortable with this group. This group is way more comfortable with him. And if you look at Coach Saban, he's been more excited about the offensive line this season than what he's been the last couple of years. So this is a group that is going to want to control everything up front, and I'm excited about it.
Me too. I appreciate that. And your insights every week, I appreciate it. Well, actually, every show I try to watch, as well as when you're on the Bama Standard, et cetera, et cetera. I appreciate you bringing this stuff to us. I don't believe football season ever ends. I think it's a year-round thing. And God bless you. And we'll talk to you again.
Absolutely. Appreciate the call coming in right there from my man Jay out of St. Louis there. We continue with the calls, 205-448-1358. Remember to call in, 205-448-1358. As you guys continuing, get those thoughts in here. We go to a cool call topic here, Eli, that being Will Anderson and the Houston Texans. It's starting to become an understanding. Anderson may go to Houston. DeMeco Ryans loves defensive players. It's just starting to feel like DeMeco may not get a quarterback first. The former decorative Alabama linebacker, who's now a first-year head coach, he may not go quarterback first. As cool as it would be, maybe to do that, DeMeco's thinking, hey, I played linebacker at Alabama. I've been a defensive coach in the NFL thus far. There's an elite defensive player in this draft by the name of Will Anderson Jr. But Texans defense has not been great since J.J. Watt left. Let's get that thing back going on defense with an aggressive player like a Will Anderson. I think this is the move DeMeco Ryans makes. I think Houston's the spot for Will. Do you feel like that, Eli? Do you feel the same way? I just feel like Houston's the spot. If Houston doesn't make it the spot, then you got the Arizona Cardinals there. You got the Seattle Seahawks there. But I just feel like you got DeMeco Ryans as your head coach, as a defensive guy. Miko gon' look out for them defensive cats. I'm just saying, watch the number 2 overall pick. If it's Will Anderson, I'll just pop me a root beer and smile. That's what I'll do. Draft, April 25th, night 1 of the event. We go to our final break here, folks. Don't touch that dial. When we return, we get into a conversation, a discussion. If Bryce Young and Will Anderson go 1 and 2 in the draft, what does that really do for Alabama football? We'll wrap things up with that after this.
Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full-year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, Bama Nation, we definitely appreciate all of you for all of the calls, all of the donations, all of the conversations in the chat line that you've had with us. Hottest show in the streets here, talking Bama football news in my own words. Yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. Eli Walker right here as well. Continue hitting the like button. Giving us that thumbs up right there, showing that support. Tapping that subscribe button as well. Daily Super Chat Go, $100 daily. Super Chat Go, $100 right there. Thanks to you guys. Final topic of discussion, Eli, this conversation here, you look at the upcoming NFL draft. If Alabama's able to have, if Nick Saban's able to have, Bryce Young and Will Anderson go 1 and 2 right behind each other, back to back in this draft, what does that do for Alabama football? If Bryce Young goes number 1 to Carolina, and right behind him they go with the number 2 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Will Anderson Jr., linebacker, Alabama. And the whole place goes crazy. What does that do for Alabama football? For starters, boy, it gives Nick Saban great joy. Not only would you have the number 1 overall pick, but you would have the number 1 and the number 2 overall pick. You want to talk about how great that is in recruiting? Nick can go call it a 7-year-old right now. Hey, man, I just produced the number 1 and the number 2 overall pick. In the next 10 years, this could be you. Coming out, I'm just saying. Coach Sam can call it whatever you want to call in terms of recruiting. That's number 1. Number 2, it's huge bragging rights for you as Alabama fans. You can go tell all the people that cheer for rival fan bases, guess who had the top 2 picks in the draft? Tide Nation got it. That's bragging rights for you as Alabama fans. Huge bragging rights. To have Bryce and Will go 1 and 2 overall, that would continue Bama, and I know people are talking about that would continue Bama as the standard of being NFL U, having picks 1 and 2 in the draft. I know a whole bunch of people a whole bunch of folks would go, well, but Steve and George is putting, X number of players in the draft, but if Alabama has the number 1 and number 2 overall pick, that just wipes out the Georgia conversation, because it's like, what's more important than the number 1 and number 2 overall pick? I am the first 2 guys off the board. And them first 2 guys off the board, Crimson Tide, insane. Like, what would that do for Alabama football, having the number 1, the number 2 overall picks? It's great for Saban's brand. Great for the Alabama football brand. Great for the recruiting brand. It's great for the fans out there to yell and scream and celebrate and jump up and down. Be great for me, because that's talking points throughout the draft. Definitely great for me. Milk that all the way up. Will they end up going 1 and 2 though? They could. I mean, the way this is looking, it looks like Bryce Young is going to go number 1 to Carolina. It just looks like this. I mean, Adam Schefter recently came out and said Bryce Young's visit to the Houston Texans was a quote-unquote waste of time. That tells me, from Adam Schefter, who's closer to these NFL teams than anybody else is, that tells me that Carolina got their mind made up on Bryce Young. And then D'Amico Ryans being the defensive coach. And there's Will Anderson right there. God, it's going to be good to watch the draft on TV. See if Bryce and Will go 1 and 2. But as always, people, you want the best news, notes, information, entertainment on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store, the Rocket Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone for your audio needs. Check this out: iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. We got you covered. The good and gracious Lord sees fit. I'll try to be back on Monday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Remember, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link found in the description. If you're trying to get your hands on the fresh edition, print edition of TDA the magazine, here's what you do. You go to touchdownalabama.com. You click join. Become a member and or a subscriber today. That link in the description. Gotta shout out you guys, the incredible fans of Bama football, for all that you do. Making this your place, your area. We talk Alabama football nonstop. Gotta show some love to my producer, Eli Walker. Handling that thing there from behind the scenes. Bama's second scrimmage tomorrow. Looking forward to getting some information on that and hearing from Coach Saban. Till next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored and join this weekend. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself, you protect the loved ones around you. Till next time, folks, I'm yours truly, Stephen Smith, and you've been listening to In My Own Words.